Welcome to Your Invisible Power with Life Mastery Consultant Christi. This is week 4.
This is week 4 of Your Invisible Power. And we start right where we always start with this work, with our gratitudes and proud of. So grateful for just the life that I've created to take a beautiful vacation. But mostly what I'm grateful for is this amazing community I met and was able to serve up in the center of Victoria Island, just a lovely church community there, and I was able to support them with my lesson and my workshop. They fell deeply into this work and into my workshop, and so I'm grateful for experiencing this work everywhere. And I'm proud of that work that I did. I mean, it was very heartfelt and impactful to the members of that community. And so I'm very proud of the work that I do and the lives that I get to touch and empower through their own wisdom and their true nature. So take a moment right now and think of your own gratitude and proud of. And you want to write that down. Hopefully you keep a journal of these. This is also like your asset list, where if you maybe get a little tripped up or forget for a moment who you are, you can go back to this. My son and my husband and I did a practice when my son was younger and would sit at the breakfast table with us, and we would do gratitudes in the morning, and we wrote in a journal and have a book somewhere of all of our gratitudes. Gratitude is just an amazing, amazing frequency. So write your gratitudes and you're proud of. And then we have our vision of our statement. I am so happy and grateful now that I am the woman that leads and inspires to amazing retreats. Now I'm dreaming of a retreat up here in the middle of Victoria Island with people that are just ready, that people that take a deep dive of this work. So your own piece of your vision statement. Okay, hello and welcome. This is week 4 of Your Invisible Power. Wow, what an amazing journey we have come through. Week 1, we looked at the importance of having a dream and how to blueprint a dream. You know, this is our current technology, but we see it was written back in 1921 to this book, Your Invisible Power, by Genevieve Behrend. And she knew and understood how these invisible principles work back then. And we are learning to use and harness them now through our current understanding of technology, but it's the same because the invisible powers, the invisible principles are the same then as they were now. It's just like electricity. The laws of electricity existed back in pre-electricity time, just didn't know how to harness them. And it's the same way with invisible principles. And how to blueprint a dream is very powerful and very important, and we went through that in week 1. Week 2, we looked at the action and how the action is that step in the direction, and that it actually also notifies the invisible powers and principles that we are moving in that direction and how important they are. And week 3, we looked at Genevieve Behrend's story about becoming the only student of Thomas Trower's and how she used the principles and took a deeper dive into understanding these principles. And today we're going to go through taking a look at the importance of faith and what to do with faith. And then I'm going to do a little overview of my favorite parts of this book. It's a tiny little book. It's something you can carry with you. It has material in it that you can read and reread and always find something new inside of this book, this little tiny gem. Today we're going to move into faith and the importance of faith. So faith is actually a part of our everyday life, a part of our everyday lifestyle, if you will, meaning that every day we practice faith. But we want to think about what it is that we have our faith in. And we want to have our faith towards the things that are good, that are helpful and hopeful, and that are life-giving. We put our believing mind toward possibility. At least that's what we want to do. We want to put our believing mind, our faith, towards possibility. Now, we can put it in the negative. I, this weekend, quoted Mary Morrissey's that said, "Your thoughts have brought you to where you are, and your current thoughts will take you where you're going, where you will be," or something like that. What is it that we are paying attention to? What are our thoughts? And that is the importance of faith. And faith is really important in working with fear. I mean, every one of us has thoughts of fear. I have a tendency that when I have a great big hurrah, so this is paying attention, right, and noticing my pattern and my paradigm, that when I go to something really successful and really wonderful, I can then turn around and hit a low. So that's something that's got me instead of me getting control of my thoughts and my thinking. And so by being aware of that and knowing by faith who I am, and knowing all of these invisible principles, knowing that the potential is all around me, that it is flowing and existing right now, and I just need to chip away what isn't true, then I can begin to chip away at whatever the low is that I'm hitting. So what happens when we hit fear and we don't have something strong enough to pull us through that fear, like our faith or our belief or our understanding about the truth of our nature and who we are, then we tend to fall prey to those thoughts and that thinking. And that's why faith and knowing, faith is basically knowing the truth of your own divinity and allowing it to be the driving force in your life. Then we can use that faith to turn our attention to what we know is really true. And that's one of the tools we have, the Race for Success, the feelings, facts, and truth. So we can just define the facts are just the facts, and then we can know a greater truth in the direction of our dream if we have that faith behind us. And if we turn our attention, whatever that thought was, it's like now that energy is behind us, it's propelling us forward, it's moving us forward. And they say around doing your New Year's resolutions, that when people set New Year's resolutions, that about 99% of the people don't have their dreams, the intentions, the resolutions they set for themselves take place. Now, we want to be an exception to that, and we do that by this deeper understanding and knowing of the truth of our nature, which is faith. And with insufficient faith, we will believe in the problem. With insufficient belief in ourselves, even with insufficient design of our life or insufficient support, but mostly with insufficient faith, then we believe in the problems. Then we live and lead a conditioned-based life. We let the effects drive us. How many times have we said, well, I can't because of my checkbook? Or we say, I can't because of my health. Or I can't because I don't have enough time. That is condition-based living. So instead we take it into, we feel like we don't have enough time. What is the fact? We each have 24 hours in the day. We can each prioritize what's important to us. Fact, right? And the greater truth is that we love expands. So there's a greater truth even about that time, that belief system we have about time. You know, I'm going into quantum physics and understanding the very little that I know about quantum physics. It's so mind-expanding that it's easy to see that our limitations, even around our health. And it's not to say that we can go out and run a marathon, but we can know that we have the potential, that is our nature, our natural state of being, that it's our birthright, and then we can take the steps in the direction of that dream. And we can do it step by step, And we can delve in this work, and we can do it by quantum leaps as we get more proficient in understanding these invisible powers. Well, I wanted to share with you my favorite parts of our learning over time. And you might take a look in your book and find these, and then find your own. It is a powerful little book. It might be kind of awkward awkward language and so forth, but that's why I went through this with you and gave you some of my favorites and pulled out the parts, because there really is a code in here of how to create the life we love living. So I just kind of hand wrote a few of the lists of the things that I love about this book. One is that happiness propels us into manifestation. And so rather than the other way around, rather than trying to manifest for happiness, it's actually happiness that propels us into manifestation. Happiness is a vibration, right? And so what this is saying kind of in our new lingo here is that a vibration of our choice, whatever the vibration is, propels us into manifestation. And so therefore, we want to be really specific and deliberate about the vibration that we are operating at all the time, not just some of the time, all of the time, right? And so you want to move in the direction of your dream and take the steps in the direction of your dream. And one of the things that Genevieve Beran did is that she every day counted out $20,000 bills in her mind. And we can ask ourselves the question in every moment, is what's going on right now moving me in the direction of my dream? If it's not, no matter what it is, stop and change directions. Now, the definition of what's moving us in the direction doesn't always mean effort and heavy work and constant fly in the window, beating at the window. It also means stopping and pausing. And it means resting. It means recreating. It means having fun. You know, spirit loves fun. And so that is moving us in the direction, like going on vacation. Is that furthering my dream? One of my dreams is to lead awesome retreats. And what did I discover on this island that we went to? There is a retreat center up there that is like designed after Esalen. It's like a little mini Esalen, and they attract amazing names from all around the world, and people come from all over the place to come to this retreat center. It's like, wow, now there's a possibility, right? So by going on vacation, not only did it help me see that possibility, there were some other really interesting possibilities that I saw in that direction, but also in just nurturing and loving myself and giving myself that joy and recreating, you know. So always move in the direction of your dream, and always ask yourself in every moment, does what you're doing in this moment move you in the direction of your dream? The other thing that I love is she talks about is that hurry is fear. Was that a relief? Because it made me think when I start to hurry, it's actually a fear-based thought, and is that the vibration that I want to have? And then she talks about calm confidence, leaving no stone unturned. And so with calm confidence, rather than with hurry, with calm confidence, taking a look and seeing, am I doing everything possible in the direction of my dream? And that's actually how I've created both the Creative Way and the Four Success Tools, is through this method that she defines here, and then through my work with Mary Morrissey, she's formalized it into the Dream Building Program. Another one of her points that she makes in this book is that we are always visualizing, always, everything that we're doing. Her definition of visualizing, which is more than just seeing it, she actually embodies it, enacts it, imagines it, you know, using that faculty of imagination. So every moment, everything that we're doing, we are always visualizing. Now, does that make you feel tired? I know for some people it's like, I don't always want to be on. It doesn't mean that you're always on. It just means choose the thoughts that you're having. I was in today getting my mammogram, and the woman there at the reception desk was listening to something that was very probably educational to her, But for me, it was kind of disturbing, and so I put my headphones in and listened to something else. We choose. We get to choose what it is that we're letting into our thought process. And the thing about visualizing is it's either by design or by default. And what by default means is it means by not paying attention or not being aware. I've had people ask me, well, children don't imagine that they want some kind of catastrophe or thing to happen to them, and of course not. And that also has to do with physiology, like not having frontal lobes and not having understanding of life and things. And because at some point in time they chose to come into this world, but no, they don't ask for these things to happen to them. They just don't know with their brain capacity, actually, says they have a choice. And then I know we talked about the idea of being an open cup. Even though a lot of us have been through this work, we know these things, that idea of I already know this actually doesn't allow us to see it a different way, to experience it a different way. And that different way for me has been in a deeper way. And then my mind is the center of divine operation. The divine operation is always for the expansion of the fuller expression. And this means the production of something beyond what has gone before, something entirely new and not included in past experience, though proceeding out of it by an orderly sequence of growth. Therefore, since the divine cannot change its inherent nature, it must operate in the same manner with me. Consequently, in my own special world, of which I am the center, it will move forward to produce a new condition always in advance of any that has gone before. My mind is the center of divine operation. Also, she gave us that great affirmation, there is but one life, one substance, and this substance is the universe finding its self-recognition of you, of me. Right? And we can tell if we've hit that self-recognition by the joy that we experience in life. And the actual act of visualizing, so I mentioned that earlier, counting out the money, but that's acting as if. And there's also another part, Mary calls it scaffolding, where she first imagined counting out the money and receiving the money. And then she imagined herself on the ship. And then she imagined herself in England working with Thomas Hurd. So that's called scaffolding, when you build this little chain of events, and you want to have that scaffolding. And I use that in my mind movies, which we've talked about before. So, and then there was the concept of excited versus enthusiasm. Rather than be excited, because excited goes, oh, wow, aren't I surprised that that happened? No, we are not surprised. We can say, oh, of course this happened, or this is who I am, and I love it. But we want to act as if it is our natural state when things come our way, when the 20,000 came to her and whatever. And again, we want to move with calm confidence, leaving no stone unturned. And then my very favorite is I decline to be discouraged. So when we hit those little bumps in the road, those little low points, then we want to be able to have these little things in our hip pocket. And I love that one. It's so easy to pull out. When something causes me to feel down or whatever, I decline to be discouraged. So the very last chapter, and actually I ended up leaving my pink copybook in a bag that my girlfriend who was up in Canada with us brought home for me, so I don't have that. I have the blue and white book. It might be chapter 17. It's the very end in the book, and I just wanted to share this with you in closing. Things to remember. Now, she is a Christian. She talks about God and about Jesus. And I do believe in the powers of that, and I know some people use different words in different languages. Just don't let that stop you from hearing the message behind it if you happen to have another belief or language around this. Because she says, remember the greatest mental scientist the world has ever known, Jesus Christ the man, said, all things are possible unto you. All things I do, you can do. Did he tell the truth? Jesus did not claim to be more divine than you are. He declared the whole human race children of God. By birth, he was no exception to the rule. The power he possessed was developed through his personal effort. He said you could do the same if you could only believe in yourself. A great idea is valueless unless accompanied by physical action. God gives the idea, man works it out upon the physical plane. That's what desire is about. That's what inspiration is about. It's like it's God's idea, the divine or spirit, the universal principle, whatever you call it. It gives the idea, and man works it out in the physical plane. All that is in your unique way, each one of us unique and individual, right? All that is really worthwhile is contentment. Self-command alone can produce it. The soul and the body are one. Contentment of mind is contentment of soul, and contentment of soul means contentment of body. If you wish health, watch your thoughts, not only of your physical being, but your thoughts about everything and everybody. With your will, keep them in line with your desire, and outwardly act in accordance with your thoughts, and you will soon realize that all the power, both over thoughts and conditions, has been given to you. You believe in God. Believe in yourself as the physical instruments through which God operates. Absolute dominion is yours when you have sufficient self-mastery to conquer the negative tendencies of thoughts and actions. Absolute dominion is yours when you have sufficient self-mastery to conquer negative tendencies and thoughts and actions. Remember, I just talked about the idea of having sufficient faith, as well as a sufficient design and support for your dreams, but have sufficient faith. Have sufficient self-mastery to conquer the negative tendencies towards thoughts and actions. Ask yourself daily, what is the purpose of the power which put me here? Isn't that a great question? What is the purpose of the power which put me here? How can I work with the purpose for life and liberty in me? How can I work with the purpose for life and liberty in me? And why liberty? Because then we can give our gifts in the world. Upon having decided these questions, endeavor hourly to fulfill them. You are a law unto itself. So every time you let down your guard, yes, this is the rigor. And no, it doesn't have to be exhausting. It's just practice. And once it becomes your nature, you practice. I catch myself all the time. And now the catching myself is in these deeper arenas. If you have a tendency to overdo anything, eat, drink, or blame circumstances for your misfortunes, conquer that tendency with the inward conviction that all power is yours outwardly. That's what we talk about in the 6 mental faculties in Genius when we talk about will. You know, it's like your inward conviction. Eat less, drink less, blame circumstances less. And the best there is will gradually grow in the place where the worst seem to be. That's the good news. Yay. Always remember that all is yours to use as you will. You can if you will. If you will do. God the Father blesses you with all he has to give. So the divine presence is like all of that energy, like the force of the universe is all for you. And it's all available to you, right? Make good, godly use of it. The reason for greater success when you first begin your studies and demonstrations in mental science is that your joy and enthusiasm at the simple discovery of the power within was greater than you have been able to put into your understanding later. With increased understanding, put increased joy and enthusiasm, and the result will correspond. And what she's saying here in this all is like, check in with your vibration. What is your vibration? Right now, that should be my next button, right? What is your vibration right now? And you can use your thermostat. Those of you that have the For Success Toolkit, you can use your thermostat. Where are you right now, 1 to 100, in a vibrational frequency thinking? Ask yourself all the time and choose. You have the choice. You have the will. You have the volition to choose. And we have many tools to help you stay in this work.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. Here are 2 exclusive podcast listener offers. First, for a limited time, podcast listeners can work with Christi in person at a deep discount. Christi offers a unique coaching modality of her own creation that helps clients discover their own answers to where they're stuck and how to move forward. As one of her clients puts it, it always works. This transformative process is designed to help you identify blocks and create breakthroughs in your personal and professional life. As a thank you for listening to the podcast, you're eligible for a special discount. Normally $97 for a half-hour introductory session, podcast listeners get a $70 discount automatically applied if you use this link, masteringtheartoflife.com/podcast-IWD-offer. That's masteringtheartoflife.com/podcast-IWD-offer. And that link is in the podcast general description as well. Second, you can get the entire library of Mastering the Art of Life with PDF notes and worksheets for each lesson, plus bonuses at no cost at masteringtheartoflife.com/9-month opt-in, all one word, masteringtheartoflife.com/9-month opt-in. That link is also in the general podcast description.